My name is Michele Fondriest, Researcher Tenure Track at the Department of Geosciences till December 2024, and I'm a structural geologist. My research activity aims at quantifying the internal structure of seismogenic fault zones and their mechanical and hydraulic properties across the seismic cycle. I've been recruited as part of the Project of Excellence granted to the department, and in particular in relation to the scientific objective georesources for energy transition and geomaterials. And my research overlaps with this objective about the study of the seismic cycle in fault zones through a combined field and experimental approach, the study of fluid-rock interaction in the presence of geothermal fluids, and in part also the study of critical raw material associated to fault-related or deposits. My research approach is an integrated one and combines detailed field structural survey within exhumed seismogenic fault zones, also coupled with near-surface geophysics, mainly active seismic, then rock deformation and fluid-rock interaction experiment to reproduce in the laboratory under controlled condition the deformation condition of rocks during different phases of the seismic cycle, and then finally microstructural, mineralogical and geochemical studies of natural fault zones and experimental product. I'm currently focusing on the post-winter seismic phase of the seismic cycle, during which a fault zone recovers progressively its hydraulic and mechanical properties through time, and specifically with an increase of strength, of elastic properties, and progressive reduction of permeability. During this phase of so-called fault zone healing, several mechanisms are active, and in particular mineral precipitation, both in diffusive and advective regime, can play an important role. We are studying this kind of processes in the field within exhumed seismogenic fault in the central Italy, for example, in fault zone cutting carbonate rocks, and with the aim to quantify their internal structure as an exhumed analog of their structural depth. And in addition, we are also, for example, studying at the moment mineralized fault zone associated to gold and copper mineral deposit in northern Chile. To constrain this kind of processes in the laboratory under controlled pressure and temperature condition, we recently installed at the rock mechanics laboratory of our department a new percolation cell apparatus, which allow us to run long-term fluid flow and fracture sealing experiments at pressure and temperature representative of the upper seismogenic crust. In particular, we are also able to track and monitor continuously during an experiment the evolution of transport properties, so permeability, elastic properties, and fluid chemistry. At the moment, we are focusing on fracture sealing in carbonates, but we are going to move soon to study systems associated to silica-rich fluids. As a final remark, this experimental device is very versatile and will also enable us to study other geological processes with application, for example, in porosity clogging of geothermal system, enhanced geothermal system, CO2 sequestration, mineralization, and fluid rock interaction and mineral precipitation associated to epithermal ore deposits.